Close your eyes for a moment. It is the year 1347. You are not in your bed. You are crouched inside a stone alcove, hidden behind a tapestry that smells of mold and old wine. Your knees have gone numb. A guard passes so close you can hear the gravel crunch under his boots. You are holding a dagger you sharpened on a stolen whetstone, and you are waiting to kill a man you have never met. But here is the question you should be asking yourself, not how to do it, but why anyone would ever agree to this in the first place. Why would a desperate soul choose to hide in freezing darkness, surrounded by enemies, with no backup, no escape plan, and a payment that probably will never come? Tonight, we are not going to romanticize the shadowy figure in the hood. We are going to do something more honest. We are going to ask, what actually made the life of a medieval assassin so unbearably terrible? Before we step into that dark corridor, take a moment to join this journey. If you enjoy history that helps you sleep and makes you grateful for your own safe, warm bed, tap like and subscribe. It helps these quiet stories find other restless minds. Now, let us walk the cold path together. Here are 4 reasons why being a medieval assassin did not just suck. It was a nightmare you would never want to wake up into. You have been paid in lies before, but this time feels different, because this time you are not just a desperate thief with a rusty knife. This time, the man who summoned you sits across a table lit by a single tallow candle, and he does not look at you like you are disposable. He looks at you like you are already dead, which means he trusts you enough to fear you, and that is the only kind of trust that matters in this world. He slides a leather pouch across the oak. It clinks. Heavy. Real. Half now, he says, and his voice is silk wrapped around gravel. The other half when the Baron of Versi no longer draws breath. You do not ask why. You already know why. The Baron has a young wife, some say barely 17, with hair the color of wet chestnuts and a way of looking at men that makes them forget their vows. Your client does not say her name. He does not have to. Jealousy has a smell, and it is pouring off him like sweat. You take the pouch. You nod, and that is when he leans closer, close enough that you can see the tiny red veins in his eyes, and he whispers something that changes everything. Do not make her suffer, he says. She does not know I hired you. She must never know. And just like that, the job is no longer about a baron. It is about a woman sleeping in a chamber down the hall from the man you are meant to kill. A woman who might wake up. A woman who might see your face. A woman who might scream, or worse, might not scream at all. That is the thing about medieval assassination that no song ever tells you. It is not the killing that haunts you. It is the eyes that watch you do it. The servants who will be executed because you left a door open. The daughter who will grow up without a father and spend her whole life wondering why. The wife who will lie in the same blood-soaked bed every night, pretending to sleep, knowing somewhere in her bones that the man who hired you is the same man who now holds her hand at the funeral. You wanted to know why it sucked to be a medieval assassin. This is why. Not the cold, not the hunger, not the guards, or the gallows. It is the quiet after. The way silence becomes heavier than any stone. The way you will never again hear a woman laugh without wondering if you made her a widow. The way you will lie awake 20 years later, in a different country, under a different name, and still see that candle flickering across the oak table. But you cannot think about that now. Now you have a baron to find, a route to memorize, and a wife who must not suffer. And that last part, the part about her not suffering, is going to be the hardest promise you have ever made. Because suffering does not begin with the blade. It begins the moment a stranger whispers a name across a table, and you just whispered back, yes. You told him yes. And now, 3 nights later, You are beginning to understand what that single syllable has cost you. The Baron is not the problem. The Baron is fat, 50, and falls asleep so deeply after his evening wine that a deaf goat could sneak past his guards. No, the problem is the woman. She is everywhere. Not in the corridors, not where you can see her, but in the spaces between your thoughts, in the way your hand hesitates on the dagger, in the quiet voice at the back of your skull that keeps asking what she will wear to the burial. You have killed before. You tell yourself this matters. You tell yourself a baron is a baron, and a coin is a coin, and the world is full of widows who learn to smile again. But you have never seen her face, and that is what undoes you. Because your client described her, just once, just a few words dropped like poison into wine. She sleeps in a shift of undyed linen, he said, and she never locks her door. Never. You have been a hired blade long enough to know what that word means. It means he has been in that room. It means he knows the way her breathing changes when she dreams. It means the jealousy in his eyes is not about politics or land or some imagined slight at court. It is about a woman who chose the Baron, and a man who cannot accept that choice, and a dagger that is now in your hand instead of his. You wonder, for one terrible moment, if she even knows the other man exists. You wonder if she laughs with the Baron, if she braids her hair by the window, if she hums some old song from her childhood while the servants light the evening candles. You wonder if she will hum that song again after you finish what you came here to do. The guard changes at midnight. You have counted the footsteps. You know the exact creak of the 7th stair. You know which torch guttering means the wind is shifting east. What you do not know is whether you are the villain in her story or just a footnote she will never read. And that uncertainty, that small, sharp sliver of doubt, is worse than any fear of the gallows. Because the gallows would be clean, the gallows would be an ending. But this waiting in the dark with a name and a half-empty purse, and the image of an unlocked door burning behind your eyes, this is a beginning you cannot undo. You rise from the alcove. Your knees crack like old wood. The dagger is warm against your palm. And somewhere above you, behind a door that never locks, a woman in undid linen is dreaming of a man who is not her husband. You tell yourself not to think about her. You take the 7th stair. It creaks exactly as you knew it would. The 7th stair creaks, but the guard does not hear. He is young, barely 20, and he is thinking about something else entirely. You can see it in the way he leans against the stone wall, his spear loose in his grip, his eyes fixed on nothing. A girl, probably. Some baker's daughter with flour still in her hair. You have been young like that. You remember what it felt like to want someone so badly that duty became a dull hum in the background. That was before you learned that wanting is a weakness, and weakness gets men like you buried in unmarked graves. You slip past him. Your feet make no sound because you taught yourself to walk like smoke, and smoke does not ask permission. The Baron's chamber is at the end of the corridor, behind an oak door reinforced with iron bands. But you are not going to the Baron's chamber. Not yet. First, you need to pass her door. And her door, as your client promised, is unlocked. You do not plan to stop. You tell yourself this. You tell yourself that a professional does not pause, does not wonder, does not let curiosity rot into obsession. But your feet stop anyway. Your hand hovers over the iron latch, and through the wood, so faint you might have imagined it, you hear breathing. Slow, deep, trusting. She is asleep. Of course she is asleep. It is past midnight, and she has no reason to fear the dark, because the dark has always been kind to her. The dark has never held a knife to her throat. The dark has never whispered a stranger's name across a candlelit table. You wonder what she looks like. You wonder if her hair really is the color of wet chestnuts. You wonder if she dreams of the Baron or of the other man, the one who paid you, the one who knows exactly how many steps it takes to reach her pillow. The latch feels warm under your fingers. Warm and wrong. You should walk away. You should kill the Baron, collect your coin, and disappear into the kind of oblivion that only hired blades deserve. But you do not walk away. Instead, you press your ear to the wood and you listen. Not for guards, not for traps. You listen for the small, soft sound of a woman turning in her sleep, the whisper of linen against skin, the tiny sigh that escapes when a dream shifts from ordinary to strange. And then you hear it. Not a sigh, a name. She speaks a name in her sleep, and it is not her husband's. It is the name of the man who hired you. The man with the silk voice and the red veins in his eyes. The man who told you not to make her suffer. You close your eyes. The dagger trembles in your grip, and for the first time in your miserable, blood-soaked life, you realize that you are not the most dangerous person in this castle. You are just the one holding the blade. You are still standing there, ear pressed to the wood, when you hear something that should not be possible. The breathing on the other side of the door changes. It shifts from the deep rhythm of sleep to something quicker, shallower, more aware. She is awake. Or worse, she was never truly asleep. She was waiting. The thought hits you like a fist to the chest. Waiting for what? For you? For the other man? For some signal only she and her lover understand? You pull back from the door as if the wood has turned to flame. The dagger is useless now. Not because it cannot kill, but because killing was never the real danger here. The real danger is the web you have walked into. The silk threads of a secret that has nothing to do with barons or politics or the clinking purse of silver in your belt. This is about a woman who speaks another man's name in her sleep. A husband who is too fat and too old and too blind to see what happens in his own house. A lover with enough money to hire a blade and enough cruelty to send that blade into the very corridors where his beloved lies, dreaming of him. You understand it now, the full, sickening shape of it. You are not here to kill a baron. You are here to clear a path. Once the old man falls, the young wife mourns for the proper number of weeks, and then the lover steps in. Grieving widow finds comfort in an old friend. Whispers start, of course. They always do. But whispers are just wind, and wind does not hang men from gallows. Only daggers do. You should leave. You should walk down those 7 creaking stairs, past the dreaming guard, through the kitchen garden, over the low wall, and straight to the nearest tavern, where you drink until the memory of that whispered name dissolves in cheap wine. But you do not leave, because somewhere behind you, in a chamber with an unlocked door, a woman is sitting up in her undeed linen shift, her dark hair falling across her shoulders, her lips still shaped around the name of a man who paid you to make her a widow. And you realize, with a coldness that has nothing to do with the drafty corridor, that she might have known about you all along. She might have been the one who suggested hiring a blade to her lover. She might have chosen the door to stay unlocked. She might have spoken that name on purpose, loud enough for the man in the corridor to hear, because she wants something even worse than a dead husband. She wants a witness. And you fool with the trembling dagger and the half-empty purse, are the only witness in the castle. The latch moves, not by your hand. From the other side, you step back into the shadows, just as the door opens a crack, and a single eye, dark as winter water, peers out into the darkness. That eye finds you immediately, and it does not look afraid. It looks hungry.